Hi, I'm Simon with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we're going to show you how to repair your appliance. Are you ready? Remember, anytime you work on your appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there is no chance of electrocution. Also, make sure you turn off the water supply to the washer. In this video, we'll show you how to replace the spider arm assembly in a Samsung washer. It's going to be a very easy repair. Should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. For the job, we're going to need a 5/16" nut driver, a Phillips and a flat blade screwdrivers, a socket wrench with a long extension, a 10, 13, and 19 millimeter heads, a pair of pliers, a pair of wise grips, some thread locking liquid, a wooden block, a rope, and pinch weighting oil, and a hammer. When you open up the package, you're going to get a new spider arm assembly. The spider arm assembly is mounted at the back of the inner basket. It supports the basket and transfers the rotation from the rotor. A broken spider arm could cause excessive vibration, noise, and even smoke from a burning door boot seal. If the spider arm is not replaced right away, the problem will expand and more parts would have to be replaced. We need to remove the top panel. Using the 5/16" nut driver, take out the two screws from the back of the top panel. Slide the panel back and lift it off the washer. Pull out the dispenser drawer, press down the tab and remove the drawer. Using the Phillips screwdriver, take out the 3 screws that hold the dispenser housing. Slide it out of the control panel. Leave the top edge of the control panel to undo the clips. Tilt the panel towards you to disengage the bottom clips. Disconnect the wire connector plug and remove the control panel. Put the towel on the floor right under the door. Then, using the flat blade screwdriver, press down the tab on the top of the door and open it. Place a container next to the door. Okay, now we're going to pull the drain pump hose out of the clamp. Place it in the container and remove the cap. So we can drain any leftover water in the pump. In our case, we don't have anything, but I bet that you will have probably a half of a container of water. So now we're going to cap it off. Remove the towel and container, and then, using the flat blade screwdriver, press the side tabs and remove the pump door and housing. Tilt the washer back on the support. Using the Phillips screwdriver, take out the 2 screws, one on each side, that holds the front panel to the bottom hinges. Put the washer upright and open the door. Using the flat blade screwdriver, pry off the door boot spring and remove it. Remove the boot seal from the lip and tack it inside. Next, remove the 3 Phillips screws that hold the door latch assembly and push the assembly inside. Four more Phillips screws from the top of the front panel should go out. Leave the front panel up and off the 2 tabs on the top and rotate it towards you. Free the hose from the retainers on the left. Leave the front panel off the bottom hinges and take it out of the way. Using the pliers, slide the two clamps and remove the hoses. With a Phillips screwdriver, loosen up the clamp by turning the screw clockwise at the top of the seal. Slide the clamp and take the large hose off. Using the 13mm socket wrench, take out the bolts that hold the counterweights and remove the weights. Alright, we're going to tilt the washer on its back and put some support. It's not that heavy anymore, but still, be careful. Don't hurt yourself. Alright, let's remove the air hose. Just squeeze the clamp and pull it off. Now we're going to take this Phillips screw out. And let's pull this tube off the tub, just to let it hang down. Okay, I'm using 10mm socket wrench to loosen up that screw that holds the sump. I'm going to pull off the sump. Alright. Now we need to put the washer upright. So get behind the washer and using the Phillips screwdriver, take out two screws, one on each side, that holds the access panel. Then lift it up to release the bottom hinge here. Pull it out and push it down. Then we can take it off. To take the rotor out, we need to remove that 19mm bolt in the center. It's going to be a bit hard to do, but there's a trick and I'll show it to you. Do you see those three holes? If you are going to align the bottom one at 6 o'clock and the other two with a 10 and 2 o'clock accordingly, you can insert the Phillips screwdriver in the hole on an angle and jam the rotor. To break loose the motor rotor bolt, install the 19mm socket wrench onto it and turn the bolt counterclockwise, jamming the rotor with the screwdriver simultaneously. Using the wrench, remove the bolt. Remove the rotor from the shaft by rocking it side to side. Be careful, it's pulled back by the magnets and you may pinch your fingertips. Using the small flathead screwdriver, press on the tab and disconnect the right side plug. Press the side tabs and pull out the left side wire plug. You can assist with a small flathead screwdriver if needed. Now we can remove the motor stator itself. Using the 10mm socket wrench, take out, turning them counterclockwise, all 6 bolts that hold the stator. Pull out and disconnect that plug. Then using the Phillips screwdriver, we're going to take this screw out and this one that holds the ground wire and one on the top, and remove the shield. And let's take the shield off. It's sharp edges, so we're gonna keep the harness down there. And next thing we do, we'll remove the rear shock absorbers. I'm putting my gloves on because there's lots of sharp edges inside there. When you take out 2 bolts, one on each side, those are 13mm. Use a socket wrench with 13mm head. Pull it out. Now we're going to take out the second 13mm bolt. Now we're going to push the shock absorber out of the tub and push it to the side so it won't be on the way. Repeat the same thing on the right side absorber. Push it to the side, out of the way. Now we're removing the front shock absorbers. We need to take out that 13mm bolt. Push down on the shock absorber and put it aside. And the opposite side, pull out the bolt and remove the shock absorber from the socket. Push it aside. All right, let's remove the air hose from the pressure switch. Squeeze and slide out the clamp and then remove the vent hose. The hose comes off with the vent cap inside. So pull out the cap and put it aside so we aren't going to lose it. Now we're going to disconnect the air hose from the tub. Squeeze and slide the clamp and pull the hose off. Using the flathead screwdriver, push the side tabs and pull out the retainer bracket out on one side. Using the flat blade screwdriver, open the spring bracket clips on both sides. To free the tub from the suspension springs, you can use two different techniques. If you are not strong, use a rope circle, slide it under the spring, grab it with both hands, and lift the spring out. Repeat it on the other side. Remove the spring from the tub and hang them on the cabinet. If you feel good and energetic, then pull the tub, holding it by the handle in the center, up and to the side with one hand and free the spring from the cabinet with the other hand. Remove the spring from the tub and hang them on the cabinet. And now we're going to take out the tub from the cabinet. Take it easy, it's still heavy. Okay, and then we install it on a support with the front end up. Next, we need to separate the halves of the outer tub. Using a 10mm socket wrench with a long extension, remove all the bolts around the tub. Yeah, I know, it's a lot of them. Pull the top half off and put it out of the way. The tub seal between the top halves better be replaced also. Its part number is DC97-17004B. And if you don't have it, you can get it from appliancepartspros.com. Rock the inner basket side to side and pull it out. In case if it won't come out, you need to turn the tub over and using a hammer knock the basket out of the tub. To avoid damaging the shaft, place a piece of wood on it. All right, let's put it down on the supports with obviously shaft up. Squirt some penetrating solution onto the bolts. Let it sit for a few minutes and then using the 10mm socket wrench, unscrew the 6 bolts that hold the spider arm to the basket. If you are lucky, all of the bolts may come out unharmed, but the practice shows that you may lose one or more of the bolts. In that case, order some new bolts with a spider arm. Well, get all 6 of them. The part number for the new bolt is DC97-17004B, A as in apple, and you can get them from appliancepartspros.com. I'm going to use a flat blade screwdriver and a hammer. I'm going to try to separate the spider arm from the basket. Use the flat blade screwdriver to pry it off the basket. Be careful, do not put this flat blade screwdriver under the spider arm assembly or you're going to punch the hole through the basket. Finally, we got it out. All right, now we need to remove the spring washer from the old spider arm assembly. We're going to install it on the new one. This is the old spider arm assembly next to the new one. If you don't have this part, you can get it from appliancepartspros.com. Before installing the new spider arm, we need to put the spring washer on the shaft. And now we can install it on the inner tub. If there is a dirt or rust, use the wire brush, clean the basket. If the mounting holes are bent inwards, use the hammer and a wooden block to knock them out straight. Bring the spider arm in. Match the holes and install it. Right now I want to remind you that we only have 4 bolts left because 2 of them were lost in the battle of removal of the spider arm. So you have an option. You can use 4 old ones and 2 new ones. You'll have to put some thread lock solution on the bolts, or you can get all 6 of them new. It's not a big of a deal, not that expensive, but you will have all 6 bolts new. So we're going to use at this moment 4 old ones, so I will show you how to put the thread lock. All right, this is the old bolt. Thread lock liquid on the threads. Start it manually as far as it can go. Then the second one. With a 10mm socket wrench, turn them clockwise. Before installing the inner basket in, I would like you to check the condition of the bearings and the top seal. If there's no corrosion, no rust on the bearings, and the top seal looks good and there's no dirt in here, we can proceed with installation. If it's looking bad and you can see the runs on the bottom of the tub, which means the corrosion get through and the water leaking slowly through the seal and the both bearings must be replaced. You can find the video on our site on how to do it. Bring the basket in and slowly put the shaft into the opening there. All right, did you see that? It went last inch So now it's sitting in properly. Turn it to make sure it turns freely. Alright, let's install the front half of the tub. We're going to align that holes. This is the handle that's on the top. See that arrow? Okay, let's put all the bolts in. And now we're going to do some bolt tightening. 10mm socket wrench. We're going to put all the screws in. Preferably if you'll start on opposite sides. Like 2 and 2, and don't tighten them real hard. And now we can go and tighten all of the rest of them. Rotate the basket to see if it's free. Alright, now we can install the tub assembly back into the cabinet. Lift it up, bring it into the cabinet, preferably with this handle up. You'll have to turn it a couple of times before it will go in. All right. Next, we're going to hang it on the springs. Install the springs onto the tub. Leave the tub and hang one spring on the cabinet. Install the second spring onto the tub. Lift and pull the tub by the handle and hang the second spring. If you are not strong enough, use the rope to leave the tub by the spring and hang it. Lock the spring brackets on both sides. Push the tab into the cutout and lock the wire bracket in. Connect the air hose to the tub. Slide it on. And then secure it with a clamp. Put the vent cap in with a little cutout here matching that little post. And then we're going to slide the vent hose on. And secure it with a clamp. And now we can install the air hose on the water level pressure switch and secure it with the clamp. Now let's install the front shock absorbers. Pull it up, put it into the socket, align the holes, slide the bolt in, need to wiggle it a little bit and tighten the bolt with 13 millimeters socket wrench. Put the shock absorber into the socket. Now move to the rear of this beauty and connect the rear shock absorbers to the tub. Pull it up into the socket, match the holes, insert the bolt. Tighten the bolt with a 13 millimeters socket wrench. Install the second rear shock the same way. Then I'm going to put the shield on. We need to match this pin to this hole. And now we're going to install screws to secure the shield to the tub. So we're going to install the bracket back on with the harness, secured with a Phillips screw. And then we're going to attach the ground wire with a third Phillips screw. And the last thing, we're going to connect the wire harness. Now we're going to install the connector plug into the bracket. Next step would be installing the motor stator. There are 3 small posts on the bearing housing and 3 pilot holes on the stator. Match the posts with the holes and secure it manually with a couple of bolts with one at the top. Install the rest of the bolts and tighten them with a 10 millimeter socket wrench, turning it clockwise. Plug in both wire harness plugs. Bring the rotor and holding it by the very edges, slide it on the shaft. Use the rocking technique to push it on. Hold it firmly on because of the magnets. It's going to jump on the stator. Don't worry if the rotor won't go on all the way. It will slide after you tighten the bolt. Squeeze some thread locking solution on the motor rotor bolt threads. Screw in the bolt manually as far as you can. Use the same method to tighten the bolt. Jam the rotor with a Phillips screwdriver using one of the 3 holes and tighten hard the bolt with a 19 millimeter socket wrench. We're going to install the rear access panel. Slide the top 2 tabs into the cutouts, then put the bottom 2 tabs into the cutouts, slide it down, and secure it with the 2 Phillips screws. Tilt the washer back on the support and get down. Alright, let's install the sump on the tub. Slide the clamp, and then using the 10 millimeter socket wrench, again, tight the clamp. Alright, now we're going to install the air tube. That little post here goes right into this cutout and secure it with a Phillips screw. Now we can install the air hose. Squeeze the clamp, push it on, and release the clamp. Now we need to put the washer upright. Next we're going to put on the counterweights. We start with the bottom one. So put it first on that pin and slide it on. And then we can secure it with the 3 13 millimeter bolts. And we're using a 13 millimeter socket wrench. Next comes the top counterweight. Again, put it on the post here. I'm sorry, wrong hole. And on one right there on the left. Okay. And secure it with the 13mm bolts. Socket wrench. To get to the third one, I'm going to just put my weight on the bottom counterweight. Bring the front panel and install it on the two bottom hinges. Place the hose on the left in the two retainers. Push to close the front panel. Secured with the 4 Phillips screws at the top. Install the door latch assembly and secure to the 3 Phillips screws. Right now I'm going to pull out the door boot seal. And place the boot seal over the lip here. And go around. Tack it in. Now we can put the outer clamp in the groove with the spring at 6 o'clock. Lock the wise grip right next to the spring. Jam the flatbed screwdriver right there, approximately at 3 o'clock, and pull on the spring and install the clamp in the groove. Check it visually all around the seal. Pulling it to make sure it's not going to come off. All right, looks like we did a good job here. We can close the door. Tilt the washer back on the support and secure the front panel with the 2 Phillips screws at the bottom hinges, 1 on each side. Put the washer upright. Get down and install the drain filter door housing. Make sure the hose in the hole and push the housing in to lock the tabs. Install the hose into the retainer and close the filter door. Let's bring the control panel to the washer and connect the wire plug. Install the bottom clips into the openings, lift up the panel and lock the top clips. Install the detergent dispenser housing and secure with the 3 Phillips screws. Slide in the drawer. Close the top, slide it forward to lock and secure to the 5/16 screws from the back. turn the water on, plug the washer back in, and make sure there's no leaks. Thank you for being a part of another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. For any of your future appliance repair projects, please check out our other repair videos available on our site, on Facebook, and on YouTube.